welcome back once again to this side of the session. And it is as power-packed as the first one. Continuing from where we left before lunch, we have an amazing galaxy of exemplary women in sales who have lived the journey and been there, done that. And they're from as diverse industries as pharma, elevator industry, manufacturing, telecom, BFSI. And they're going to tell us how they've navigated a not so perfect world for building a successful career in sales. I'm Purnima, and I'm going to be with you through this segment. And after this segment, which we call the podium, yes, the people who've made it not to the finish line, but are already there, decorated for what they've done, and looking, to achieve significant miles more. We will also have the award section, where we have some of our amazing achievers come in and get their light under the sun here. So without further ado, let me call upon our first achiever and stalwart, Devi Chandra Menon. She is Senior Vice President and Regional Head Consumer Business with DBS. And I'm keeping these introductions short so that I don't steal the thunder from them. Devi, over to you to share with us your amazing journey.
Thank you, Purnima. So stalwart or not, but yes, I'm glad that, and I'm very happy, excited. I'm thankful to People Connect and DBS Bank for nominating me to come and talk about my career journey so far. And it's been a very exciting, fruitful 2+ decades experience that I'm going to talk about. And one humble request, with all due modesty, since I'm going to talk about me, I'll be doing a lot of don't take it as tom-tomming in any way, but this would be more talking about my experiences with an idea to share some insights, some experiences, and hopeful that this is going to go a long way in helping lot more women come up and do far better than where at present where I am. And I'm sure there's a long journey for all of us to go. So when I was approached first, and when I sat back to think about how did this go, it was a very gratifying and emotional, enriching experience for me, because it took me back to those days when I started my career. So 2+ decades back, I'm an engineering graduate, and frankly, I joined when I got into banking. It was not a planned career choice. I was wanting to join the armed forces and become a Fauji someday. This was more as a stopgap arrangement to earn that pocket money to probably, let me buy some lipsticks or whatever at that point when I had just passed out of college. But and here I am, hooked on, absolutely enjoyed my journey completely. I think my tryst with sales started back then when I joined ABN AMRO Bank as an associate in their phone banking division. We had this, so one of our personal loans team back then, they did a small campaign, and they did it in the format of Kaun Banega Crorepati. I remember it as Kaun Banega Personal Loan Pati. So it was all about generating leads, and the highest lead generator would have been awarded by Sodexo vouchers. And at that point in time, this is a golden figure I can never forget. It was 4,000 rupees worth of Sodexo vouchers, which was far more than my monthly take home that I took that time. And so that's, the lesson I learned at that time was sales. I mean, it gave me a complete high. The sales that what it can give you, the sense of achievement, and you get completely it's very fulfilling in nature, right? And so the incentives with which come, because there's a lot of hard work which goes in it, right? I'm not saying that other aspects of the roles that we take charge of don't. But that was one of the early taste of sales and success that I came across. Thereafter, of course, in my journey, when I then moved over to customer service and with ABN AMRO Bank, where there was a lot of cross-sell opportunities, what I learned was sales can happen in many ways, but the most effective way is that there has to be absolute honesty, integrity. There is no scope for wrong selling, because we are into this for a long term. We're not looking at short term goals. What is most important is client satisfaction. How are we ensuring that, so these are the fundamentals which go in. And I remember back then, I have had the opportunity of working with great mentors, both men and women. And my early bosses were women, and one of them, she used to say that, when some of us would go and say that, oh, today's day was bad, and I don't think I'm cut out for sales, and she like, no, just that's rubbish. Take it out of your head. Every single human being is born to sell, right? So it starts from early childhood. We go and sell that toy that I want and ensure that the parent buys it. If you're doing this job today, you sold yourself to get this position. It could be a operations role, it could be a service role, it could be whatever. So basically what she was trying to convey is that every single one of us does sales in our own way, in some form or the other. And that's an important lesson, again, which I took back with me, that there's nothing that if we want to do, anything can stop us from doing. Again, moving on. So from an established ABN, I moved on to my next organization, Yes Bank, setting up stage. And at that time, I joined them as the service and operations manager, basically the front end service and the teller desk, etc. So we had not yet started operations for the customers, and this was a time when we were wondering. So the client onboarding had not started. So I had quite a sizable team for a branch, and me sitting idle, thinking, okay, now what? That was when I got some of the friends in the AMC, the asset management companies, who would come and train us on mutual funds and insurance, and we got ourselves certified. So by the time we opened up for customers, onboarding, etc., and walk-in started, my team and I were fully equipped. We were cross-selling, and then what happened was we were doing we were bringing in, clocking in business almost equal to what the relationship management team were bringing in. But here the learning that I got was that I would like to tell everybody was, there will be times when there could be a time when you're thinking what to do, what not to do, and that is a time to invest in gaining knowledge, right? Equipping yourself with knowledge and ensuring that it's in the direction that would help you add value to the organization that you're in, right? And yourself in the bargain, right? Again, one of the early learnings that I had was, my father often said that make sure you invest in yourself. Make sure, you as much knowledge as possible you try and get, because if you invest personally, professionally, you have to grow, right? So very, very critical that we take care of ourselves in that manner. We ensure that we do those things. So thereafter, when there was a chance, so I was from a service manager, I did operations, etc. Basically, eventually, I got on to become a backup branch manager. And when there was a time when I had to interview, I got into an interview with my then BU head, who said that, listen, lady, your branch manager's role is not easy. It's a hardcore sales role, and you've got to be with the feet on street team. It's no longer, what you think it is. These boys need to be taken to the local wine shop and motivated, and that's how sales happens and stuff. I remember asking him that, are you sure that's the only way to do sales? That year, when I became the branch manager, my BU head was extremely proud because I was the top performing branch manager for him at that time. But I would like to tell you again, what I realized back there is that any individual, be it the boys or the girls, men or women, it's not the wine shop that determines the motivation. What motivates each of us is the sense of achievement, right? And as a boss, as a leader, it is extremely critical for each of us to ensure that we know what's happening on ground, right? Even whether you're a boss or you're a salesperson, if you know the pulse of the market, are you aware of what happens in the market? What is your customer talking? What is the team talking? What is your competition talking? These are, and this doesn't need too much of research. 5-10 minutes a day of ensuring that you talk to customers, we talk to our peers, we talk to our juniors, we read up articles. uh, it just helps in setting the way forward, and this is very, very critical, because it helps us in, not just in uh, our business right now, but on it helps in the long run, from a perspective of how clients look at you, etc. Coming to that, there is often a thought that it's sales, is it safe for women, is this the right job, am I better off behind the desk, should I be doing an operations job, is that safer for me? One thing I would like to talk about is, a lot of the safety is defined by us, and the process to get ourselves safe also is in our hands, right? In a lot of ways. Choose your organization. I would like to say that I work for a great organization, and I've always worked for good organizations. But I've been in DBS for almost 12 years now. And I've seen the way our CEO, Mr. Surojit, or Kishore, who's the head of HR, and the HR practices that have been implemented, which come up both for men and women. But in women in particular, we feel emotionally and, in every way safe around our things. So, on how do you do your daily chores, what kind of things, if I have a client meeting, where is the client meetings, right? So that is how I choose to do it. If I'm going to meet a client at the client's residence, am I ensuring that I'm going along with the client, along with a colleague, right? um, uh, Rogues are there everywhere. It's not just in sales or in our professional environment. We face rogues all the time around the world. But how do I handle that? If I'm making sure that I mean business, eventually, whoever I'm interacting with, understands that this is a professional discussion that we are going into, and principally everything falls into place. So that's again very, very critical for us as women to understand how do we take care of, how do we ensure that we put our, how do we form ourselves, our what we mean across to the person whom we are uh, talking to in the right manner. Um, so yes, it's critical, choosing the organization, choosing, knowing whom we are working for, knowing the your work. But again, like I work for a bank, so we mean very, very senior. It's a very serious business. We deal with money, and that's the most serious business from any perspective, right? So from what I again want to talk about is, are you keeping your learning curve up at all point of time? There's no backup to that. So sales, if I were to go in a, if I were to say that, okay, I'm going to pitch something to Purnima, I would say that, okay, am I convinced that this is the right product for Purnima? And am I sure that what I'm going to talk to Purnima is the right thing? And is this what Purnima wants? That is what is going to set the agenda and the relationship between Purnima and me for the long haul. So here, I think, keeping time in mind, I'd like to conclude. And I think, as per my closing remark, I would like to say that, let's all ensure that when we go to work every day, we don't go to work as women who go to work, but employees who are, with equal opportunity, and we are going there to give it our best. And one of the things that I work with is, be absolutely, you know, be passionate in your zest to excel. And if Mrs. Nui can do it, if Mrs. Bhattacharya can do it, if Mrs. Kocher can do it, I'm sure there can be a lot more of us also out there and doing well for ourselves. Thank you so much, ladies. All the very best.
Thank you so much, Devi, for that. An amazing journey, and wonderfully captured through, and I think one of the best nuggets that you've given: invest in yourself and keep yourself aligned and relevant to the market. Thank you so much, and so
you.
inspiring. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Purnima.
Our next speaker or achiever, as I call it, is Rajeshwari Raman. She is Vice President, Sales and Marketing for the Aditya Birla Group, and has traversed an amazing journey in sales, which we'll just hear shortly from her. Rajeshwari, if you could give us a sneak peek into your amazing success story.
Sure. So first of all, Purnima, thank you for inviting me in. And a huge round of applause to the participants who have joined us. I count more than 900 people on this call. Thank you for giving us the importance of hearing us out and spending your time with us. So I've predominantly been in sales and marketing. It's been close to 22 years across 6 industries. I have always looked to move out of my comfort zone, try to cross-skill myself across industries. So very often I get asked a question, why sales? Okay, I mean, as a woman, how do I find it in sales? Do I find it very difficult? Do I find it tough? So let me try and address a few of the questions that I get asked quite frequently. Why sales? Well, sales for me was not a natural choice to begin with. I think my first assignment was way back in college when I began as a credit card saleswoman. I really hated it. But then over the years, when I persisted in continuing in sales, there are a lot of learnings that I found about myself. First and foremost, since I move across industries, sales helps me break the experience bias. So let me explain what that is. So many a times I get to hear from people that you don't have as much as experience in this current industry. Sales is very achievement oriented. The focus is on performance. So if I'm able to move your business 3 times faster than any of your existing people, that helps me break the experience bias. Second is, it's very satisfying and fulfilling. I stopped looking for validation from people. Look at your spouse or look at your boss to try and tell you that you're good. The numbers normally create a sense of achievement. It makes you feel good about yourself, and it is a validation that you put in the effort and you're there. Last but not the least, sales helps you control the narrative of your career. It is a tough profession to be in, but it helps you. It helps you in a way that you are the author of your career. I mean, if you perform well and if you do a good job of it, you decide where you want to go. But then, with all these reasons there, then we also find, the McKinseys and the BCGs of the world actually ask us a question, a very relevant one, I must admit. Why do so many less people join sales? If you actually understand that question, we don't recognize how pushy we are. I mean, most of the young women come to me and tell me, Raj, I don't want to join sales because it's a very pushy profession. I don't know whether I can be that aggressive. But if you actually take a minute off and think about it, think back to your personal life. How many times have you had to push your children to get out of bed, to do their homework, to do their studies? How many times have you push your spouse to carry the trash out of the thing? How many times did you mentally push your in-laws out so that you can have that cup of coffee in peace to judge how your day has gone? So we are pushy. We are pushy in our personal life. We are pushy where it counts. We are also we don't get that part of the pushy part of it to the job. So somewhere, giving ourselves the credit, saying that we can do it, and building that confidence and self-assurance that there is a science and an art to it and we can do it, that I think we need to work on, slightly at a more enhanced level. I also get asked a question saying that, Rajeshwari, you've been in sales for so long. Has it always been a cup of coffee, tea, and roses? I said, no, not really. There have been many times in my career I have been called to the boardrooms. I've been called to my boss's room and, blasted down, told myself that I'm not been performing well. But then I think, what Devi rightly mentioned, it's not about personalizing it. It's about looking at how you navigate the lows of sales along with the high. Sales does give you a adrenal high, but when you get into the low path of it, I think instead of personalizing it and instead of internalizing it, I think if we start developing a certain amount of emotional intelligence to understand where exactly the problem lies, what are the steps that are needed to address that, you will and surely bounce back. I also feel that in the initial part of my career, and I'll be very honest, when I was very scared of sales, I used to always focus on, I don't want to do sales because I'm very scared, what my superiors are going to ask me. What is my boss going to ask me? He's going to ask me every day, what is the number that I've gone? How many sales calls have I done? That entire focus was on a different thing. I was focused on being scared. I was focused on the questions that were being asked to me. What I really should have focused on, or what I did in the subsequent years, is to focus on my ability to answer those questions, right? We all have an innate ability to reason, understand, and like Devi put in, understand the market, your segment of customers where you operate in. So I started working on that ability to actually face my superiors and answer and present myself in a manner that is coherent, cohesive, as well as logical. And as I started doing this very consistently, I started seeing that, the questions which actually threatened my very sense of self actually going down. I started becoming more self-assured, more confident. So that is one thing that I did to probably get over the fear of sales. Last but not the least, a lot of us out there, as women, we have this critical radio playing in our mind. We don't raise our hand very often. I mean, think across the countless number of times I stood in a CEO town hall. I was aware of the project with the launch of the company. I was very good in terms of, what the competition is doing, the balance sheets, the ratios, very good on the analytical skill. But the number of times that I have not raised my hand to answer a question, the number of times I have not raised my hand and said, I want to be on that project. The number of times I have not set up meetings with the central team to understand why are we doing this? For whom are we doing this? These are all lost opportunities. So if there was a time machine and I was allowed to travel back in time and I had an opportunity to meet my younger self, I would definitely advise all the young leaders out there, raise your hand. Second is, don't be too limited in your vision of yourself. For many times I have 2 kids, running around them, managing in-laws, meeting the dual responsibilities of home care as well as the job scenario gets a little tiring and tough. We all understand that as women. But don't let that determine the choices in career. For a very long time, I said, okay, XYZ is the location. If I move, this is going to be troublesome for my spouse. This is going to be very, very difficult. And then there were a lot of opportunities. I let it go slip. Right? So don't do that to yourself. There is always a workaround to every problem, every solution. The kids don't mind a particular location. You can looking at moving your kids around. You can take that opportunity. And, people say you can't have it all, but I tell you, you can probably have your cake, cream it up and have it all. So think in terms of opportunities. Don't think in terms of limitations that we have, right? Another great lesson for me is, in some of the roles that I've done, and I'll be very candid with you, I see that I have sold myself short. So I had to take a break for my children. I had a very difficult and tough pregnancy. And I was hired back as a zonal head for one of the most toughest competitive industries. At that point in time, I was the only woman. The entire male colleagues. I don't know. Don't take that kind of pressure. You don't need to be one among them. You just be comfortable who you are. I'm you. I don't need to be bothered about what you have. You don't have what I have, right? So probably if I go back to my younger self, I would like to tell myself that, don't be bothered about what other people are getting to the table. Focus on what you get to the table. I'm sure you have the ability to do it, and consistently and persistently, if you stick to it, you will be able to do it. These are some of the learnings that I felt were very personal to me. I had internalized it across my sales career. And then I wanted to share it with the audience at large. 2, 3 other things that I also wanted to point out. Sometimes we women, we feel that, comfort, we rate comfort above discomfort. We do not push ourselves, when we tend to push ourselves. Now, I consciously recognized that, and I thought, the best of the best IIM degrees in the world did not teach me this. So I constantly pushed myself to move out of my comfort zone. I spent, like Devi, I spent 14 years. I was also an ex-ABN AMRO person. I moved into telecom. I was my last assignment in corporate was the Chief Operating Officer for Bank of America, India operations. So I pushed my comfort zone, limits of my comfort zone. I went into telecom. I had no idea what telecom was. I established two very successful business in the United States of America, USA. In edutech, I researched the entire mathematics. Trust me, I was a very bad student on math. But those limitations did not stop me because, the more I have spent time, the more 18, 19 hours of the work that I put in, the more I understood the businesses, the more I understood how to, approach the target market segments. And last but not the least, we women, we do go through ups and downs in our personal life. It tends to affect our personal careers. In all those times when you have, or any of the women out there, in all those times when you have felt low, there is only one mantra that I have repeated to myself. Today isn't my forever. What is happening today isn't my forever. There will be better opportunities moving forward. There will be better opportunities for me to prove my worth. And last but not the least, understand what your self-worth is. Stick to it. Don't sell yourself short. You are amazing. You may struggle a little bit in sales, but let me tell you, this has been the most rewarding experience of my life. As a person, the way from an introverted woman who was so conscious about how she sounded, coming from a family of classical singers, where both my sisters are very renowned singers, and developing even the confidence to speak with a voice until Rani Mukherjee came on the scene. Trust me, I was always bullied for my voice. So work on what is your most toughest insecurity. And I promise you, it's not such a tough profession to enter. We need more of you with us. So this is all I had to share with you and the team, Purnima. Thank you so much for the time.
Thank you so much, Rajeshwari. What a power-packed 10-15 minutes to share all the nuggets and such beautiful stuff, because these are the conversations we've been hearing over so many years. Just like you and Devi said, it's important to push the boundaries. I think we have so many self-limiting beliefs, and I think some of them, the way you mentioned that you've just broken them, is amazing. Thank you so much, Rajeshwari, for being with us today, and continue to inspire us all here.
Thank you so much.
And for the audience, if you have questions for any of our speakers, please put it in the Q&A segment, and if time permitting, we'll pick it up towards the end of the session. Our next achiever is Shivani Deka. She is AVP Sales and Marketing, Multi-Speciality, and she comes from the pharma industry, Sun Pharma. And over to you, Shivani, to take us through your amazing journey and some of the lessons that you've learned, which we can all learn by. Thank you.
Thank you, Purnima. It's an absolute honor and privilege to be in this platform. And when I was hearing to my previous two speakers, I can only say that I so much resonate the same feelings that they have been saying. And I was almost thinking, oh my God, this is exactly what I thought of saying, and they've already uttered it. One very simple thing that I would like to draw parallels, that Devi said she wanted to be a Fauji. I guess successful saleswomen have this streak in them. Even I wanted to be a Fauji. I think it's a streak of wanting to make a difference, a positive difference in the society. Hello, everyone. I'm Shivani Sharma Deka, a senior professional working as an associate vice president with Sun Pharma, the leading pharmaceutical company in India. And it's an honor and privilege to be here in the platform of WinS. However, with due and humble regards, if I'm allowed, I would rename it as winning in sales, as I've never allowed the woman factor to be so predominantly playing in my professional life. Yes, I've seen the statistics, which the statistics are not very encouraging in India, and a Salesforce woman in Salesforce is very poor. And I sincerely hope the platform as such encourages more women to join the Salesforce. And my personal journey has not been a cakewalk. It has been built on a lot of hard work, great determination, conquest of various challenges and struggles. And I hope my journey can also inspire and motivate a few. I'll start from the very beginning. I'm basically from a very small town called Dibrugarh in Assam. So 30 years ago, I left Dibrugarh in Assam to seek an education in Pune that was considered Oxford of the East. And it was one of the major turning points in my life. Well, when I say that, it might sound very mundane in today's age of technology, but believe me, 30 years ago in 1993, when there was no internet, for a teenager to travel 3,000 kilometers from a small tea gardens town called Dibrugarh to a place neither she nor her family has ever visited but I've only heard about, needed big courage and big dreams. I would say the seed to those big dreams was sown very early in my life by my mother, again, a woman who played a very critical role in my life. She put it into my head that do something noteworthy. That's the only way you can earn respect in the society. And from being a middle-class household, I understood the importance of financial independence very early in my life. So during my stay and education, graduation and post-graduation in Pune, throughout, I took up various odd jobs, selling WWF products like greeting card, diaries, calendars, credit cards to earn a pocket money. These odd and small jobs taught me a lot in very early in my life, handling different situations, interacting with different people, overcoming various challenges, etc. I will take my journey through different phases and my learnings and challenges at each phases of my life. After my PGDBA in 1998, the job search opened various industry doors. Mobile industry, 98, BPL, AT&T. I had done my summers in AT&T, Yellow Pages, and pharmaceuticals. I chose pharma sales. As we all know, we are all into a selling profession. So selling never really scared me as such, because ultimately in each profession, we are selling something. I joined Nicholas Piramal, a part of Abbott now, as a business development manager. And believe me, my reason of choosing pharma sales then and now remains the same. In pharma sales, you have a highly defined customer base and the most educated and elite customer segment of the society. In fact, for women to make a career in sales, I highly recommend the pharmaceutical industry. Apart from having a highly defined, educated, and elite class of the society, you're promoting science and medicine for a noble cause to heal, cure, and save lives. In the initial phase of a woman's career in sales, there are various hardships. I was based in Pune and had an extensive traveling to be done. I was covering the entire Western Maharashtra, Meerut, Sangli, Kolhapur, Sholapur, Barshi, Aurangabad, which meant extensive traveling by second-class compartments in train, ST buses, shared autos, roadside food, stay in not so good hotels, public toilets. Think about it, 98, infrastructure was not so well developed. Women, we have our own problem, traveling with periods, many a discomfort. But there is no success unless you move out of your comfort zone and conquer your fears and limitations. By vast majority, our industry is not biased. It gives equal opportunity to both able and keen men and women. We need to focus on the work on hand, give it our best, learn from the basics, grounds up, master it, and the next level doors automatically open up. The same thing happened to me. My next door level opened up and I was promoted as a product manager, and I moved to Mumbai 23 years ago. In our industry, and I think likely in most others also, there is no elevator to success. You have to climb up the staircase and take each step. Your success will depend on your personal drive, your passion to excel in assigned task, your learning attitude, your risk-taking ability. You're moving out of comfort zone, and this is very particularly for women. Your resilience in difficult situations, people sense, and a lot of sacrifice. Believe me, a lot of sacrifice. Well, while all this is true, you also need an excellent support system in your home front. Initially, parents who believe in your dreams and abilities and support you in your initial formative years. Later, your in-laws, especially your spouse, plays a very big role in your life as you juggle the balls of various professional and personal responsibilities, mind you, without dropping any. I'm blessed here. My banking professional husband understands my abilities and aspirations and fully supports, encourages, and truly partners with me in my family responsibilities. I want to say this here. We as women must not try to do everything all by ourselves. We need to build a support system around us. Parents, in-laws, friends, neighbors, relatives, paid support. It does not make us a less wife if you are not dishing out hot fulkas at a dining table or packing your child's tiffin every morning. We need to be disciplined and we need to learn to prioritize and plan out. I know it's not easy. but let's not be very hard on ourselves and try to be perfectionists in every aspects of our life. We all know it doesn't get us anywhere. We need to have high clarity of our thoughts of what we want to do and be very, very firm about it. During my various tenure in my product management, I joined Nicholas Piramal and then I moved on to Ranbaxy, which was again a very critical period of the pharmaceutical industry. Here, I would like to also make another point. Please don't shy and shrug away from additional job responsibilities. Many of us shrug it, but it's a brilliant learning opportunities. And if you don't know which more doors it'll open up for you into the next level. Next, I moved to Glenmark, where I had a brilliant learning experience, got to launch a new division. But at that juncture of my life, I had faced the most challenging part of my professional life. At the age of 34, I became a mother. A difficult pregnancy, which many women faces in today's scenario. And the role of a mother is definitely bigger than that of the manager. And I have seen in our industry, most women quit their professional life at this juncture of their life. During my times, even the policies were not very conducive. Thankfully, the industry is changing, but a lot more needs to be done to make this industry more woman-friendly, mother-friendly. In my case, I did not have to give up my professional life, as my parents and in-laws came to my rescue and supported me to raise my son and enabled me to continue my professional journey. At that point, also, I had joined Sun Pharma. And this organization had a brilliant culture and environment and leaders who encourages and enables women to excel in their professional life. I had almost spent 2 decades of my career handling oncology business, which is almost like a end of life business operation or an end of life. Oncology is somewhere where you give the bad news. And here this company gives an opportunity to lead one of the gynecology businesses, which is a completely different paradigm. It's creation of life, from the end of life to creation of life. Its high performance orientation culture taught me to dream big, take calculated risk, be solution centric, and have a very high value system of humility, integrity, passion, innovation, which makes each day of your work very exciting. Finally, I believe women can make a great sales leader with their sensibilities of bringing both their head and heart to work. However, to be successful in this male-dominating industry, there are few things that I would really like to emphasize on. That women need to be very, very clear about what you want in life and be very firm about it. You need to align your family to your professional aspirations. You need to build a support system around you. You don't need to do everything by yourself. Many a times we women are our own limiting factors. Express yourself. Do not hesitate. Be solution-centric. Another very, very important point. Be ready to move out of your comfort zone. Recently, I was hearing Shah Rukh Khan, and he said that you want to be successful, you want to be famous, but don't think that you will get to have, your sleep, afternoon siesta. You'll be able to have your biryanis and your tandooris and still look fit and fit. So there are sacrifices. When you want to be successful, be ready to move out of your comfort zone, and only then you can be successful. Play by your strengths. Create a niche for yourself. Ultimately, in each industry, it's your strength and what you bring on the table of performance is what matters, not your gender. Finally, do what gives you biggest joy. If you really ask me what drives me every day, it's a thrill and joy of creating and building something. And I think sales, the joy is firsthand. You can make the transformation instant. And take that through an entire product life cycle and see what value creation you have done in creating and building something and how it can positively impact many lives. Thank you very much. And I hope we all women can make a positive impact and encourage more women to come to this field of sales and experience success. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Shivani. You've traversed a long journey, literally and figuratively. And I think the way you've traversed different locations and through the phases is amazing. And thank you so much once again for inspiring us today.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Pooja Agarwal. And like Shivani mentioned, there's no lift, to success. Pooja comes from the elevator industry, and she's going to tell us how literally she moved up, not the ladder, but the elevator to success. So Pooja, over to you to give us a sneak peek into the elevated journey that you've had right from the beginning. And just allow me 10 seconds, I'll just bring up the text.
Sure. First of all, thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity. And I congratulate People Connect, LinkedIn, as well as, of course, Aditya Birla Group for hosting such forum where women in sales can inspire other women who can actually build a wonderful career in sales. I'm absolutely delighted to hear Devi, Rajeshwari, Shivani, and of course the other speakers since morning. And I'm much more inspired now to build forward on my dreams. In fact, I messaged Ruchika that I'm stealing Dare to Dream aspect of it. In fact, my journey has also been very similar when some of the other women referred. Purnima, if you could move to the next slide. I come from a Marwadi family, come from a very conservative family, my childhood has been in a joint family where we were almost 28, 29 people who were staying together, and women were perceived to have a typical role in the society. They were supposed to get married at an age of 21 because that's what I think my aunts had seen, and that is what was perceived to be. But I think the times changed. The times completely changed. I always grew up as an ambitious person, first in academy, first always in my academics, and always this glamour of joining the corporate world. I didn't know what sales is at that time. We are three sisters, so my father had the burden, I will say today, today I'll say he's very proud, but he had the burden of ensuring that the daughters are well settled. So at an age of 21, those photographs of boys started coming, and I thought that this is not something that I visualize myself into. And I pursued further my MBA, pursued my father, and I think he was willing to give me that opportunity. And I did my MBA from IFT, and I think post that there has been no looking back into the same. Purnima, could we move to the next slide, please? If I say about today, if I look back, I think last 16 years of my career have been absolutely amazing. I never thought that I will traverse that journey. And that is what some of my colleagues who mentioned, that women don't believe in themselves. I've worked in various businesses, manufacturing, including manufacturing, worked in services business, as well as knowledge and corporate services sector. I joined Aditya Birla Group as a management trainee and was placed in Aditya Birla Capital into core sales role. And I thought, what am I doing? My other colleagues, MT people, they joined strategy, they joined categories, they joined HR, some of them joined core marketing. And I thought that I am the one who is left behind. So of course, like many of you, like many women on the forum, sales was not a natural choice for me. But 7 years into core sales, right, it completely changed my perspective. I could understand what the customer thinks about while he's wanting to buy a product from us. I could understand what negotiation is, what influencing is, what does it mean to make a sale. And I think that's helping me immensely today when I'm leading P&L for almost 1,000 crores and leading almost 900 people. I would say that when I started with sales, I did not know what is it. I thought that it is about selling a product to the customer, right? 3 businesses which I mentioned. I think I started with the Aditya Birla Mutual Fund. I worked as an HR. I took up a role of an HR. It was a special assignment at Aditya Birla Group, at Group HR. And now leading the entire P&L for Schindler Elevators, for West India, for Maharashtra and Telangana. 7 years in sales, I think, gave me that ability to be able to understand. And I think what my basic understanding is, the person who is sitting on the other side of the table is also a human being. And once we start humanizing those experiences, whether it is for our customers or our employees, it absolutely changes them. None of them is looking actually to just talk about the product when we go for a meeting. And some of us, I was talking to a colleague of mine who is wonderful. She's in finance. She's a finance controller. And when I was talking to her, she believes that she cannot do sales. And I was talking that I think you will be wonderful in sales because you're able to shake my line managers to be able to move the numbers. So you can easily have a conversation with the customer, because It is about providing solutions. First, it is about understanding, getting those insights to understand what their needs are, right? Does your product even fit into their needs? Sometimes we are just wanting to, in sales, most of the people make this error of wanting to sell a product to them. But I think what I have realized, it is about customer wanting a solution. And I've taken those decisions. If my organization could not provide them the right solution, it's better to step out and not impact the long-term relationship with the customer. So I think the person, first of all, the person sitting on the other side is a human being. He also wants to have a good conversation, understand what we can offer, understand what his needs are, and build those solid relationships. Today at Schindler, when I joined, I think everybody was saying that manufacturing is not for women, especially sales in manufacturing is not for women. In the elevator industry in India, I'm the first ever woman who is leading business operations and sales. What I believe in is that it is about living and breathing your core values every day. I think one of my colleagues mentioned about authenticity, about building relationships, about having that EQ power to be able to influence the person on the other side. That's what I do every day, whether it is my internal employees or it's my external employees. I think we manage almost 20 lakh customers who travel up and down through elevators, right? So they definitely, we build the lives, we provide the mobility needs for this vertical transportation. And more importantly, today, I believe that servant leadership is extremely important. I have almost 700 technicians who are today providing the services to these 20 lakh customers. And I'm basically enabling them to be able to do their job much more efficiently. Could we move forward, please? In fact, I would like to give an example when I had also led sari category, the launch of sari category for Aditya Birla Group. And this was after an experience of 7 years in sale and 4 years in HR. And at that time, I realized the power of sales that I had, because I could easily understand what the customer needs, take it back to my R&D team, get the right product in market, and then take it to the retailers. In fact, they were absolutely surprised that a person who hasn't spent as much time in textile industry, she is able to give us those inputs on what the customer, what the millennials needs are changing, how she is able to provide, because that core element of what the customer needs has been so ingrained. And I think I'm absolutely thankful for that 7 years of sales. I indeed believe that to be a great business leader, whether you want to be in marketing, you want to be in HR, you want to be leading a business, you want to be an entrepreneur, sales enables us. Sales is the foundation. It is absolutely the foundation. It gives us a lot of skills, right? I'll talk about the skills in my next slide. However, some myths, some of them have already been covered. It's usually perceived it must be tough for girls. And who are these people who are perceiving it? Actually, it is just a myth which is created by women themselves that it must be tough, as I gave the example of my colleague. I think if you can have a comfortable conversation with your family, right? I think it is much better. If you can manage your health at home, I think who is one of the biggest influencer, we can't let go of her and we have to manage her very delicately. It's absolutely the same when you do sales. Sales needs constant travel, some aspects of it, but today now in hybrid culture, customers are also moving to a lot of digital aspects of the same. So yes, it will need travel, but I think the travel I have absolutely enjoyed in last 16 years. It gives a lot of insights into different cultures. It gives a lot of insights into different aspects of the business, right? And in sales, you interact with so many businesses. You learn so many businesses. IQ wins is a very big myth that women usually are scared of mathematics. I think sales is a function which is the most simple and the common sense function. It is actually the EQ that wins. The person on the other side is also wanting to connect emotionally, right? So it is a balance of IQ and EQ that wins. I think coming from a very conservative family, I believe that when I joined sales initial 7 years, my father also always used to fail. What are you doing? You're going and selling, right? But that's not true. I think today, all of you women out there are in a much better situation, because today there is a lot of respect for various kind of roles. And today the infrastructure that most of the organizations are working on is in better space. So it is absolutely something that, and I think respect is absolutely created. A person, I remember that some of our team members who were executive assistant to the chairman, they also found that that's not a respectable role. But respect is something that you create for yourself, and the way you absolutely handle that role. There are people, there are presidents, there are prime ministers who have failed in a role and they lost the complete respect. I think most of the organizations today out there, or even new businesses out there, are looking for creation of value. And today sales is not restricted to, it's not something like door selling, going and selling on doors. There is B2B sales, which is very, very professional word that we are dealing with. There is B2B2 space that is emerging. For example, what I did in sari category, we had a product which we used to sell to an influencer, and the influencer will do it to the customer. And of course, then D2C, that is direct to consumer, which is absolutely emerging. So there are a lot of platforms today which are available, which may not have been there for 16 years back. Even category sales is something which might excite many of you and gives a lot of opportunity to work with the consumer. I think my last part, which I believe that these are the critical skills which will help each of you. And I believe that each woman, the way we have been grown up in our country, the way our childhood has been, the way we are, we have seen a lot of, after especially pandemic, each of us has this skill indeed. Resilience is given in Indians, right? Amongst Indians, they never give up. That's the attitude that we need in sales. 1 year may be exciting. You may lose 1 deal, you may lose 3 deals, 5 deals, but I'm sure there will be 7th deal that will be in your favor. So resilience is extremely important. It also helps that, your teams basically, because they feel that there is a lot of passion that is there in the person. It helps the teams to bounce back. Negotiation, as I mentioned, if we can negotiate with our helps at home, if we can go to Sarojini Market and shop, I'm sure negotiation is a cakewalk for all of us. Inspiring teams, I'm sure that each woman out there, we have a lot of dreams. Today, I see a lot of millennials when I interview them, the new generation, the Gen Z, they're absolute passionate. So sales is something you can absolutely direct your passion into. This is one critical skill. Whether it is inspiring your teams or inspiring yourself, it is absolutely important. Identifying opportunities. Opportunities don't walk to you. As a sales leader or as a business leader, it is important which are the markets which will do well for any of the sectors. Whether I did it for sari category, I thought South is the segment that is my biggest market. So identifying those opportunities. In elevator industry, we are working mostly with tier 2, tier 3 cities where we feel there are large opportunities. So identifying opportunity, and I think it is very common sense. You get a lot of reports. I think today business papers talk about which are the emerging cities in which sectors. If you go through them every day, you can easily identify for your sector which are those opportunities you can leverage. And last but not the least, the one who lives the values, sales function especially needs. There has been a lot of mis-selling which has happened, especially in financial services industry or many other industries. But of course, one is regulatory authorities have come in. But sales is a function which is more about building relationships, right? We will never lie to our family that we have done this. We'll never lie to our friends that we have done this. So why to lie to our customers? So I think core values, especially authenticity, being accountable for what you are. And third thing is I think especially passion. It always helps to be a tall sales leader. That is what I believe. At Schindler, we are absolutely geared up for D&I. What we are trying to do, even amongst our customer engineers who go and service the elevators, I'm working on, it's my dream project, to have a team which is on ground, which absolutely is women oriented. For example, handling almost 700, 800 elevators in one area. I want to have a team which is of women. Otherwise, we have a lot of initiatives which are taken care for women, especially when women return from maternity. There is a lot of support. And I think most of the organizations are doing it. So all those fears, all those myths are already being busted. I have this advice to each of you that sales is a very, very exciting function. It helps to build your basics, right? And then you can absolutely move into different functions, explore, but please do sales. And it's not that difficult. If you have logic, if you are unstoppable, you can definitely lead sales. So that's all from my end. I think wonderful platform. I've been hearing a lot of speakers. Thank you so much, Purnima. For the lack of time, I would have loved to talk more, but we will see other opportunities.
Thank you so much, Pooja, for those amazing nuggets, especially in the areas of soft skills and making it so relatable that most of us seem to have it. Is just about putting it into context and perspective. Thank you so much again for being here today on this platform. Our last speaker, but not the least, is Pallavi Agarwal. Pallavi Agarwal is a CEO, direct to customer, vertical with Airtel. And she's again had one of those wonderful journeys that we've been hearing about so far. And I think it's important to see how many women leaders out there have achieved the success that we've all set out to make for us. So Pallavi, over to you to take us through your career success and journey.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Purnima, for having me here. And thank you everyone for listening. So such interesting and inspiring journeys. I'm personally very inspired. As is typical of a person in sales, as I'm talking, I'm on the road, traveling in my market, and and I was thinking about it when I was told to talk about my journey, how I'm into sales and how, I keep going on and I enjoy this entire part of my career, what makes me being here. And I was thinking of doing it a slightly different manner. What if, my career headlines were to come in? And if I were to talk about 5 career headlines of mine, which kind of gave a glimpse of my journey in sales. The first headline would be that I left brands and marketing. I was making ads, believe it or not, for the first 7 years of my career, and I shifted to sales. In many cases, it happens the other way around, where people in sales want to shift to marketing. So mine was an absolutely opposite journey. The second line, I would say, if I were to print a page of my career, the second headline would be that I left a very so-called comfortable or cushiony job of being in Coca-Cola and joined a startup at the age of 40. The third headline, something very close to me, would be that it was actually after I had my first child that I pivoted to sales. So I was in marketing. I started my career from there. Once I had my first baby is when I had to shift cities and come back to where my parents and in-laws were. And that kind of brought me to sales almost 12 years back. In fact, on my second child's birth, I brought him to office every day with me, and these were the days before the creche policies were created, etc. And he used to come with me to the office. He's done this for almost 1 year, every day. The fourth headline, if I were to say it, would be that I actually influenced, because as is typical with many of us as women in sales, we are the minority women in sales, or in my case, it's also happened that I was the only one couple of times in my parts of my journey. And so I influenced, or I happened to influence, the travel and stay policies, and they actually got rewritten when I was working with Tata Chemicals and with Wipro Consumer Care. In fact, I influenced the childcare policy when I was with Coca-Cola, after which, a lot of women were able to get their newborn babies and children to office because of some changes which I could influence and support on. And I would say the fifth headline, again, something which I'm very proud of, is that my LinkedIn profile talks about what I do in my career. So what my headline is in terms of my role. It also talks about the fact that I'm a mother, and that's because I'm very proud of it. In my mind, I'm more than the role I handle. And what I am professionally and personally is because I take pride in what I do as a mother and as an employee. So yes, I'm a woman in sales. Yes, I travel 10 to 12 days per month. Yes, I worry about my kids when I travel. Yes, I have washroom issues. We heard about it from uh, other women colleagues also. Yes, the journey is not easy, but interestingly, it's something which I look forward to every morning when I wake up. It's something which I really enjoy. So again, as is typical of a salesperson, every output, and if I were to call my career journey an output, I kind of try to connect with the input, saying that what is it that kind of worked for me, if I were to put it like that, to get the desired output. So again, uh, being number oriented, I'd put it in, say, simple 5 points. And the very first point is that I'm very proud of what I am, right? And the fact that I'm a woman, that I'm a mother, I don't see those as points which should pull me back. In fact, these are the reasons why I do what I do. So I'm absolutely proud of what I am. The second thing which I realize is that I don't put barriers for myself. I mean, there are enough and more obstacles for all of us, men and women alike. So why create further barriers? So I don't. I am okay to move out of my comfort zone. In fact, I don't even know what's the boundary of a comfort zone, right? It all depends on where we set the boundary. And for me, I genuinely believe it's okay to take a chance. It's okay to fail by taking a chance than failing because I didn't try. So I don't put boundaries. Number three, I am not scared to raise my hand. And we heard this, right? We heard, I could hear this echoing in other discussions also. If there's an opportunity, I raise my hand. I said this earlier. It's okay to fail. But if I won't try, how would I know? So I'm not scared to raise my hand. In fact, I don't have to be 100 and 110% perfect to believe that I can do it. Even if it's something which excites me, I will raise my hand. I will give it a try. I might fail. Fourth, again, close to me personally, is that I am not shy to seek support, right? I am what I am, but it's only possible because I also reach out. I don't wait for somebody to realize that I'm struggling. I reach out for support. So whether it's my mother, my mother-in-law, my husband, my kids, my team, my boss, I just reach out. I would really say, and I talked about earlier that we end up putting extra boundaries, extra obstacles. We should not. Uh, and I would say finally, the fifth point, which is something which I believe in, is the power of gratitude. So I really appreciate what I have versus what I don't have, right? And there will always be those scenarios where I'll miss my maybe child's school outing or something else at home because I was traveling or because I was closing the numbers of the month, etc. So again, I have this way of working where I appreciate what I have versus what I miss. I appreciate the fact that I am in the office every day, but I also have my two kids waiting for me when I reach home. And I think I mean, we are blessed when we have, as a woman, when we get these multiple opportunities at home, at work, I think it's a blessing. So instead of cribbing or feeling that I'm stretched, I love having my plate full. I also try that, when I'm at home, I don't think too much about my work. When I'm at work, I kind of don't try to get too worried about my home and my kids. I kind of, where I am, I'm in that moment. And I'm just grateful for the opportunities which come our way. And today's time, today's environment, there is so much which comes our way, which we can do. So I think, yeah, I'm absolutely. Uh, I think my journey is not unique. We're all into what we believe in. As long as what you're doing excites you, gets you kicked up every morning to wake up with this energy, to do something new, to do something different, to do something better, maybe just 1% better than what we did yesterday. I think we are doing a great job. So on the parting note, I'll just maybe use a quote which I read, which I believe in, which is that the best gift that we can give to ourselves is to have an open mind. So yes, have an open mind, give it a try. Sales or any other role for that matter, I think there is no stereotyping of any role to say it's not easy, it's not for me. Whatever works for you, whatever excites you to come back every morning to contribute, I think is made up for you. So thanks for having me here. Thanks for listening to me patiently, and all the very best. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pallavi. And that was again another amazing journey. Wow, what a segment we've had, such inspiring journeys. And not just in this segment, but right since morning. And love to hear all that everybody is talking about today. If you have any comments, feedback, inputs for us, please put it on the scribble wall or put it in the feedback section. It's important, I think, for all the leaders here who's speaking, also to see if anything that they've said today has resonated with you in your personal journey. There might have been one dilemma or some confusion that you would have come into this session with, and possibly it would have got answered, as you heard, our panels, our companies, and our inspiring achievers. Thank you, each and everyone who's shown us what it takes to reach where we are, or where they have made a success of their own career journeys, and possibly they didn't know where they got started. So that, I think, can't get more real and authentic than that for today.